Exact process we use to create our TAM, total addressable market, or target account list of 7,149 software companies. For us, it's 100 plus employee companies or under 100 employees with X amount of funding, all B2B software. First thing we do is pull a list of software companies from a number of data providers, and we scrape G2 and Capterra. For the data providers, we use ZoomInfo, Clearbit, Seamless, and Crunchbase. The compilation of that list gave us about 21,000 companies. We knew this didn't sound right, so we dug in a little bit and started to find a lot of companies that actually weren't software, which a lot of software engineers, software development, IT consulting and services. Sort of all those non-software companies, we use as many VLOOKUPs and formats as you can think of. So we did something we had to do, which was manually verify it. We used our growth team and about 20 or so interns at the time. The manual verification process wasn't crazy. All we really did was just go on the website, check to see if they're actually a software company. After doing that, it gave us about 6,500 companies left. The rest of the 7,149 companies have been added or in some cases removed over the last year and a half because there were just companies that were not in the initial data pool. So we just added them as we found them in other places. We've also started using other data providers that have also been able to add in companies. Every single month, we also use Crunchbase for recent funding, which allows us to add companies that graduated into our target account list because they had X amount of funding. And it also exposed some companies that were actually software that were not, just because of how they were tagged in the data providers. The manual verification process I mentioned is also subject to human error. So over time, there was companies that we've removed just because people thought they were, even though they weren't, and vice versa, as well as we would add companies that were marked non-software. Sometimes it's hard. Sounds like it was a long process because it is and was, but it was much needed. We did find that we were just wasting a lot of money in the ad platforms because of the industry targeting. It's very tough, and it's not their fault. It's not the data providers. We've used tons of different data providers. The definition of the software and how people are classified under there is just very hard, so it's very hard to rely on the industry targeting because there's going to be consulting services, there's going to be agencies, there's going to be companies that are not in your target audience that you could not talk to or want to talk to, but they will if you don't manually verify, create your own list.